So when you're first getting started on YouTube, there is a lot going on and it may seem like you have a lot of expenses. So even if you convince yourself to buy an expensive camera, or maybe if you choose to do a cheaper camera setup, whatever your setup is, it may be much more difficult to convince yourself to invest in a program like Premiere Pro or Final Cut or any of the other paid editing softwares out there. So in this video, I'll be talking about 3 of my favorite free softwares. I've actually used 2 of them extensively on my own channel when I was starting it a while back. And so in this video, I'll talk about all 3 of these, the pros and the cons of both of them, and help you decide which one is actually the best one for you. So before we get too far into this video, if you are new here and you're looking to grow your online influence, whether that is on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or any other platform out there, start your growth now by going down and clicking the subscribe button. As I say in every single video, my brother and I are putting out tons of videos every single week. Guys, we have a really aggressive schedule and we're putting out so many videos to help you guys grow your channels. Now, editing with the free software is great, but of course, because it's free, it is going to be a little bit more limited. You're not going to have the same software engineering backing it up that you would have on something like Premiere Pro or Final Cut. And for that reason, before you go and download any one of these, I recommend the first thing you do is try to find out where you might be able to get Premiere Pro or Final Cut for free. And I don't mean by pirating. What I actually mean is, for example, if you are a student on a university campus, then you might be able to go to the library and use their computers, or some colleges actually allow you a student license and they will cover you. You just have to insert the whatever code they give you on their website and you'll get it for free through the university. Or maybe if you're not a student, you can go and check the local library, see if they have it, or any other way. Maybe if you have a friend that already has it and only has it on one computer, you can get it on 2 laptops or 2 machines, whatever you're using. You may be able to split the cost with them. So I recommend Premiere Pro. That's my everyday editor. But if you want to use a free one, these are 3 great free ones that definitely work, especially when you're just getting started on YouTube. So when you're looking at free editors, there are a lot out there, and honestly, I did a lot of dirty work digging through all these different editors, and there's nothing worse than finding one, downloading it, editing the entire thing, only to find out at the end there's a big old watermark on there, unless you want to pay them, $80 for that one video, and then you'll have the program for the future. But, at that point, it's so frustrating that you thought you had a free one, at the end, there's a watermark. So in this video, I'm going to make sure that none of these free ones have watermarks for you guys. I'm trying to save you all the trouble of, finding codes on the internet or anything of that sort. To be clear, none of these are pirating. These are all just free software out there. There are paid versions of some of these, so some of these may be a little more limited than the paid versions, obviously, but regardless, I'll be talking about what those limitations are so you know going into them. So starting off, the first one is actually one that I used a lot a while back, and it may not be the best of these 3, but it is still a very good one. So this one is Shotcut. Now, Shotcut has a bit of a sketchy website. There are kind of links all over the place and ads, so be very careful when you're trying to download this. I'll put the link down in the description below, but again, make sure you don't click on any of the ads accidentally. Navigate through this properly and download it so you use it the right way. So when you actually open up Shotcut, you'll find that Shotcut is something that has a little bit of a learning curve to it. So if you've been looking up any other lists out there, Shotcut has been showing up for a while, for several years. And like I said, this is something that I used. I did give it up because it was a little bit annoying to learn this. I recommend watching tutorials before just starting and diving into this because it is extremely intimidating. It's not really that similar to some of the other softwares. And so it's definitely not something that you want to do, just for like a weekend family video or something. If this is your first video, you're going to have to invest some time to actually learn this software. Now, what's good about it, it is cross-platform. So you can use it on Mac or Windows or whatever you use, for your normal computer. You can use this. You can download this. It also has a decently flexible interface, so there's a lot you can do in here, and you can import different file types. So there's, a pretty wide variety of file types. I typically I use MP4 all the time anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But if you have different cameras that record different file types, or you like different audio types, you can import almost anything into here, and it works very well. So moving on to number 2, I think this one's a little bit better for a bunch of reasons, but first of all, I think it's easier to use in general. Now, that's not to say Shotcut was not good to use, because Shotcut is just not simple to use your first time. Once you learn how to use it, it's a very powerful program, it's very flexible, and overall, it's one of the better free apps out there. So going back to DaVinci though, DaVinci is nice because when you're downloading it, it's much less concerning. You have a much more professional website, although it does require an email and a phone number to sign up. I assume this is maybe for marketing purposes, so I don't know if you guys have I mean, I'm not going to suggest that you use an app like Burner, or if you use, some other phone number, but, if you maybe don't want to get anything marketed to you, that's maybe an option. But regardless, they want your phone number, they want your email, and then there's also a great intro tour. So once you download this, they give you like a nice tour showing you where things are and general features that you can use within the app. So like I said, when I was in college, I edited videos in the library on Premiere Pro, and then when I had to use my own laptop, this is actually one that I used, DaVinci Resolve, and one of the reasons I really like this one is because it actually can resemble Premiere Pro pretty closely compared to some of the other apps out there. So this one, you can set your keyboard layout to be something you are familiar with, so I chose Premiere Pro, for example, and then of course you also have a general workflow relatively similar to Premiere Pro, and if you know Premiere Pro, you can check this out and you'll see that it's generally the same way, how you have different tabs, and the tabs are fairly similar. So because of this, if you learned Premiere Pro before, it may make sense to get this one now until you can afford Premiere Pro. Or if you are new, I recommend getting this one, getting used to it, and then once you have enough money, once you get monetized, and once, if you think you ever need to, you can take the next step and jump up to Premiere Pro, and it will be less of a learning curve then when you jump into the other app that's fairly similar to DaVinci anyway. Now again, this is a great software because it does not have watermarks. I keep saying that. It also has no time limits. And although one thing a little bit strange is I have a pretty powerful laptop here, and I did get a notification that it filled up my GPU memory, that's what it said, GPU memory, fairly quickly. So maybe it's not as optimized as some other apps out there. So Premiere Pro, I've been editing 4K on this laptop for a while, but DaVinci Resolve, maybe you need a more powerful machine. Maybe it just, I don't know why it did that, but just something to be wary of. If you're trying to edit larger videos, you may have problems with this, but maybe not. Maybe it's just my laptop. So overall, I think this is a great app for color grading and audio grading because it is so similar to Premiere Pro, how you have those tabs. It's also cross-platform, so if you have Mac, Windows, Linux, whatever you're using, you can get this, and it's totally free. Some of the bad things about this is, like I said before, you will need a more powerful computer to run this one, and also you're not going to be exporting directly to social media. Of course, I don't really recommend that anyway, but that's a con that, if you want to just export directly to social media, if that's what you do, then you can't actually do that on here. So number 3 then, which is also an amazing one, is HitFilm Express. Now there is also the paid version, just HitFilm, so make sure when you're downloading it, you don't accidentally download that one or try to download that one because there is a paid version like I said. So HitFilm Express, when you go onto their website, it's a decent website. It's much better than the Shotcut website at least, so you don't have ads floating all over the place to try to distract you and download viruses. I don't even know. But HitFilm Express, good website you go through, and they are going to require you to share it on social media. A quick tip though, if you just click the X, it seems to work just fine. So with that in mind, then it'll arrive as an email link, you'll download it, and you'll be set to go. So this is a little bit less intuitive than DaVinci. Overall, DaVinci, like I said, was probably the most intuitive out of these 3, but this one is a very powerful app, and if you check a lot of other lists out there and a lot of other reviews, this one comes in at number 1 on a lot of different reviews, and there is a reason for that. So some of the really nice features of HitFilm Express, of course there are tons of features in these, and that's not to say that the other ones don't have them, but some of the nice features that I really like, so there is a lens distortion corrector, and so if you're using like a very wide angle lens on a GoPro or maybe on like a Galaxy S10 for example, you can sort of correct that so it's not like a weird fisheye thing going on. You can also edit 4K video, of course, as I think everyone really wants to edit 4K video anyway. You also can edit 360-degree video if that's what you're interested in. But if you're doing 360-degree video, I don't really know. I've never done that, so I can't really speak to that one. Besides that, some of the bad sides on this one, it does take a while to export, so that's a little bit annoying. Some of the more popular add-ons also charge you like $10 to get the packs. So guys, if you are interested in using any one of these 3, I recommend you go and download them today, check them out, and watch a lot of tutorials on them. I'm not going to be making a tutorial series, unfortunately, for all of these because there is just too much to talk about, and personally, my everyday editor is Premiere Pro. So which of these 3 is actually the best one to use? In my opinion, I think DaVinci Resolve would be my choice. If I was just getting started off on YouTube, I did not know how to use any editors yet, and I was not monetized, and let's just say I also had no money to invest. So DaVinci Resolve is the go-to for me out of these three after looking at them and actually using all of them, just because it's more intuitive in my opinion. It's easier to use. The website's a little bit cleaner, so it's not as confusing to download. It's also cross-platform, so you don't have to worry about what device or what machine you're using. And on top of that, I recommend actually using a keyboard layout that you're going to be eventually graduating to. And by that, I mean, I recommend everybody goes to Premiere Pro. I'm not sponsored by Adobe by any means. Trust me, I really do wish I was, but I'm not. So guys, those are the 3 best video editors that I recommend when you're starting off on YouTube. Some other honorable mentions: VSDC is a very popular one. iMovie is the classic that everybody with a Mac starts off with. And then also VideoPad. I recommend doing research on VideoPad. I haven't checked that one out, but I know that's one that pops up on a lot of top 10 lists. So if you use any one of those 3, comment down below. Also, if you use any that I mentioned in this video, comment down below, or any other ones for that matter. I want to know what you guys choose, which ones you like or don't like, and let me know why. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.